Software engineers won't have a job because AI can write code. We don't want to stop its innovation. We don't want to stop the value that we can get from it. And this is one major problem, is that AI models are evolving and the power and the speed and everything is evolving so quickly that no one can keep up. No one has any idea. Hello and welcome to DevOps Unpacked, where we demystify DevOps through conversation. I am joined by Helen, my co-host. Hello, Helen.
Oh, hi.
How are you getting on?
I'm stressed.
Yes, so for the past 40 minutes, we have been wrestling once again with technical issues, but thankfully this time they're all on Helen's side.
Yes, but here I am.
Here you are. Here I am. We're ready to go. So what are we talking about today, Helen?
Today we are talking about AI, which sounds a bit funny in my Geordie accent, doesn't it? I've realised that all the vowels sound the same, don't they? AI.
Yeah.
So as promised, we're talking about AI today. Now, it's taken us quite a while to put the questions together for this, because what I know of AI is going to chat GPT and asking really daft things like, why do I have a sore throat?
Okay. So we're talking specifically about AI in DevOps, right?
Not about why I have a sore throat.
Not why you have a sore throat. Not the best recipe for a pork stew. I've done a bit of homework on this one as well. We obviously know broadly what the subject is.
Yeah.
So I suppose let's get stuck in and get some questions answered.
Yeah, let's get into it. So first question, when people say AI in DevOps, what are they actually talking about?
Yes. Yeah. So AI in DevOps is a very broad statement because obviously DevOps encompasses that whole software development lifecycle, and AI can be anything from, just asking ChatGPT a question, as we said, or completely autonomous actions in place of a human. So I think if we think about what do people mean by AI in the software development lifecycle, we can probably break it down a bit better. Effectively, though, we're talking about enhancing the software development lifecycle with AI to automate tasks, as DevOps tries to do all the time, to make things faster, to make things of a better quality, and to generally enhance what we already have in the form of a software development lifecycle.
I have gone onto YouTube to have a look at how many people have listened to our podcast. I've looked at Spotify too. Why do you think so few people are subscribed?
Yeah. I think that's probably an issue with where the subscribe button is located. So, guys, if you're finding this useful, do drop us a sub and let us know. We love to see the support, and we thank everyone who has subscribed so far.
Okay. Let's get back to the real questions. So how is AI different from the automation DevOps teams have been using already for years?
Sure, that's a great question. And there is a bit of confusion around, the difference between AI and automation. So AI is effectively interacting with a large language model to get information or do tasks. So whilst AI isn't a person and you're using it to enhance your experience as a developer or a DevOps engineer, it's not necessarily automation, depending on how you use it. So automation, as it stands for DevOps, the ways that we implement automation in the past is, scripting things using APIs, making sure we use CI/CD. And what we're doing is we're using AI and the power of AI to enhance all of that existing automation and to really speed things up. So AI isn't necessarily automation. AI is an enhancement that can be used as a new form of automation. And I assume we'll get onto how.
Yes, we will. So why is AI suddenly a big topic in the DevOps world?
It's definitely a big topic. I would say it's a big topic in the world,
Yes.
and DevOps being a part of said world, it's natural to be discussed in DevOps. I think with DevOps as well, you've got software engineers, you've got DevOps engineers, you've got generally more techie people who are more on the forefront of technical innovation than other industries. Therefore, it's more natural to have those discussions sooner than other people. Yeah, it's just part of the general AI boom, the AI bubble, the trend towards AI in everything. And where AI can excel is where logic is used. So in software development, making decisions and writing code and that kind of stuff, it's generally speaking quite good at that. When things become more subjective, that's where AI becomes a bit more nuanced. And
Okay.
so it's a natural fit into software engineering, I think.
Okay. So my next question was, what problems is AI best suited to solve? But I guess you've just kind of answered that, haven't you?
Yeah, best suited, I would say. And this depends. And when we talk about AI, we're not talking about one AI. We're not talking about one LLM. LLM. I'm not very good at saying that out loud. I just realized I haven't said LLM out loud very much.
No, that's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. So an LLM is a large language model, which is what you'll have heard of, training AIs. And what you're training is this large language model, which is effectively a giant piece of data that you interact with, and it gives you responses. So there are a multitude of companies that have their own LLMs and models that you can use. So you can think of, ChatGPT, OpenAI's model as one. You've got Claude, you've got Gemini, if you use Google.
Yeah.
There's just so many out there. And organizations also create their own LLMs based on their own data and their own organizations. So when we talk about AI being used, we have to be careful that we're actually referring to myriad of tools and models out there. That being said, I've completely forgotten the question that you asked, but I may have answered it.
No, I think you did. You did answer it. Yeah. So, so, where are you seeing AI being used most successfully in DevOps?
Most successfully.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a tricky one to answer, but it goes back to the objective questions versus subjective questions, because that's effectively what you're doing is you're interrogating this model to get answers to questions that you need answers to. So if we take DevOps and the software development lifecycle and start at the beginning, so the first stage of the software development lifecycle, if you can call it the first stage, but the inception of a project starts around the planning.
Yep.
So AI can be very good for summarizing a plan. If you've had a Zoom meeting and you've discussed something that you want to build and you've discussed why you want to build it, the value you get from it, then you can just use AI, as many organizations will, to summarize the meeting notes.
Yeah.
So that can be helpful, as well as when you're moving on to that analyze stage. So after the plan stage in the software development lifecycle, you've got the analyze stage. So we've got the plan stage here. Yeah. So this would be more around this would be around, hey, we're going to have technical issues. That's just how we work. It's how we roll.
It is how we roll.
Yeah. Sorry. In the plan stage, that's where we're just general business tools. So we got meeting notes, and then just general ideas.
Yeah.
So it could be used broadly to flesh out the ideas and the user stories, the value proposition, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then we've got the analyze stage, which is the second stage of the software development lifecycle. As you can see here, there's like 6 or 7. I've written them down already because I always forget what they're called and in which order.
Yeah.
So for the requirements gathering is you can use AI to just draft up your acceptance. So here you can say, based on everything that we've got from the planning stage, what's our acceptance criteria? Generally, what will things look like? How are we going to execute upon this plan?
Yeah.
And then in the design phase, you can get AI to kind of actually diagram things for you. And now we're still talking ChatGPT, just browser interactions, just prompting on the browser.
Yeah.
You can use it to explain the trade-offs between using approach A versus approach B, C, D.
Okay.
So you could say, you know, what's the most cost efficient? And, oh, okay, this is the most cost efficient way to design this. What are the trade-offs between that and the most expensive? Then we look at the implementation phase. So this is probably where a lot of the main reasons that people think of using AI in DevOps. So, I mean, the poor old plan, analyze, and design stages of the software development lifecycle are often overlooked. So this is the implement phase. This is the writing the code. This is the, you know, the core, the bulk of what a developer does, and probably what people think of most when they think of AI in DevOps. So we've got 2 main things that I'm going to put, but there's more. But we've got code generation. Okay, so that is using AI within your IDE, your integrated development environment, to write functions for you, to write code for you, or, you know, you can technically use it to write entire applications. This is code generation, and this is what a lot of people will think of first when they think of using AI in the SDLC.
And does that work very well?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Depending on which models you're using, and a lot of time it depends on how much you're paying for credits and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But the newer models are very good at generating code. That's not to say that there are some drawbacks, which we'll cover a bit later on. But generally speaking, yes, it's good at code gen.
Okay.
And I think we touched upon this last time, but code review.
Yeah, we did.
So this is the idea that AI can review your code changes before they go into production in the way that a person may review your code. But it can be overly verbose. It might not necessarily know what kinds of things to highlight and what to ignore. So a person might realize, okay, this is an issue, but I don't need to call it out. It's going to be a waste of time. But an automated AI code review may just tell you everything.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, like typos in comments and all that kind of stuff, which you don't necessarily need to know about.
No.
I'm going to pause here at the end of implementation. We've got testing and maintenance parts of the software development lifecycle, but I wonder if you have any more questions on this or...
Not well, I don't know. Let's see if the next question kind of ties into it.
Sure.
So how does AI help with CI/CD pipelines specifically?
Okay, that ties in quite nicely, I suppose. So CI/CD, obviously, we discussed in a lot more detail in our last episode.
Yeah.
But just for anyone who wasn't listening or hasn't seen that, CI/CD is continuous integration and continuous deployment / delivery. It is the process through which your code flows from being written by the developer on their laptop to getting into production. It goes through various stages, including the building of code, the testing of code, and the deployment of code. The question was, where does AI best fit in CI/CD?
Like, how does it help specifically with CI/CD pipelines?
Sure. So I'll just go over the code gen and code review points are both part of the CI/CD pipeline.
Yep.
So code generation is obviously something that can massively speed up a developer because the code is being written by an AI and not the developer necessarily. Not to say it doesn't need hand-holding and a lot of good guardrails around it to make sure that you're getting the right quality and the right results. And code review as well, with the caveats previously mentioned, is CI/CD pipeline, and it's very helpful to have a robot review before a human does.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I think in the testing stage of the CI/CD pipeline, I suppose, look, we've naturally moved on to that. The next stage here. So far we've covered plan, analyze, design, implement. So let's look at this test section here. And this is obviously your domain
it is my domain
as a QA or a tester. So I suppose you'd be interested to see how that area is evolving.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we used to spend forever and a day. As you know, I worked on the tax system, and we used to write thousands of test cases.
Yeah. Yeah.
In an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, hopefully no more Excel spreadsheets. So we can carry over this code generation into test. So the reason being is that a lot of unit tests and integration tests, all unit tests and integration tests are written in code. You can have your AI assistant in your development environment and say, okay, I've just written this new feature. Now create me tests to make sure that X, Y, and Z are true when the code is built. And this is kind of taking maybe your testers and QA back away from being developers necessarily, right? We discussed last week how QA used to be very manual, going to websites, clicking things, ticking boxes and spreadsheets, towards QAs being developers and writing these tests in JavaScript or whatever it may be to automate those tests. Well, now when you're interacting with an LLM, you don't necessarily need coding knowledge or a high level of coding knowledge to create tests. So which is very interesting. So how the code generation kind of carries over to that test stage. Generating general test cases as well. So aside from the actual code and the tests there, you could ask AI what test cases you should implement based on the types of changes that you're making.
Yeah. And then I wonder, how there was always a lot of talk when you did regression test about how much code coverage you had.
Yeah.
Then I guess using this, and you could get those sort of figures as well as to how much code coverage you have, and maybe set thresholds for how much you want to have.
Yeah, so a lot of those specific tools as well, like the code coverage tools. So when I say tools, these are scanners that you run directly against your code to measure those statistics that you just said. So the code coverage tool exists within the CI/CD pipeline, and you target your code and you say, all right, how much of my code is covered by tests? And then so Coverty is a code coverage tool. These tools are already integrated into your CI/CD pipelines, and what they're doing, a lot of these tools are bringing in their own AI solutions into their platforms. So you might be integrating AI into your pipelines without actually needing to do much yourself in that regard. So for example, a common security tool is Snyk, SNYK, and it scans your code for security vulnerabilities. But it can take that data from the scan, ship it to its own platform where it can use AI to analyze the kinds of vulnerabilities that you got. It can suggest fixes for you and that kind of thing. So there are ways that tests are already integrated, and just you're getting that benefit of AI without having to do anything yourself as an engineer or a tester.
Yeah, that's really interesting, actually, isn't it? I wish we'd had such things when when I was in the thick of testing.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I haven't had a lot of exposure in production myself around this area of needing to write tests, because as a DevOps engineer, I'm not necessarily building the software. But I have seen some of the results of scans and that kind of thing. And it definitely seems to me like there are a lot of manual tasks that are just being kicked out by AI.
Nice. Makes life a lot easier, I imagine. So can AI improve incident detection and responses?
Yes. Next.
Oh, getting away with that.
Okay. So what you're talking about here is incident response. And so incident response is something generally handled by SREs, site reliability engineers, who are part of or adjacent to DevOps and platform teams. And an incident may be, my application has stopped working, or my application is much slower. It could be a security issue or response to a data breach or something like that. So when we say incident, we mean very broadly, something's not right with our production application, and therefore someone needs to respond to that to diagnose what the issue is, and more importantly, to fix it as quickly as possible. So this is where you can throw in another acronym at your MTTR. You might be measured on your MTTR, which is the mean time to resolve.
Okay, yep.
So the idea of automating things and using AI as part of an incident response is to decrease that number.
It's not increase it.
No. So when you're implementing AI at any of these stages, the decision that you'll be making as to whether or not you'll be implementing AI is the value that you can be getting from that. And improving MTTR is a massive value driver. So what was the wording of your question specifically?
Can AI improve incident detection and response? I can't say detection now.
We moved our podcast recording to earlier in the day, but somehow our brains are still as switched off as they are.
It's all the technical issues.
Yeah. The specific implementations of AI to address incident response come from those observability tools, in my experience. So these are the tools that have all of your logs, all of your application metrics in there already, which is able to analyze and detect anomalies. For example, Datadog is one monitoring tool. You've got New Relic. I've been looking at one recently called Better Stack. So these are observability platforms, and you basically just send all of your data there and use that to identify issues and to find out root causes to issues. These tools have implemented some pretty cool things, because you can imagine that AI is best when it has context.
Yes.
And by context, I mean a bunch of data that you can give it to aid in the answering of questions. If it has access to your entire observability stack, it has all the logs for all of the applications. It can start to look at trends when error rates started to get higher, if latency started to get higher. It has the whole stack trace of your application and tells you where things are going wrong. I was looking at Better Stack, actually. I've got some notes here. They had a really interesting thing on their marketing site, which is an AI SRE. So this is the idea of having an AI in place of a person, which is a very interesting concept. So they're kind of marketing part of their product as this gives you an SRE. You know, the value proposition here is you get a person that can do this thing, but it's not a real person, obviously. And with some fancy stuff in the background, with some giving that AI tools in a toolbox, it can technically resolve issues without human intervention. It can identify the root cause. It can kind of validate that is the case, and it can, in an automated way, fix issues.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So this is actually, if we look at the iPad again, so we got this maintain stage.
Yeah.
So the maintain stage is the final step of the SDLC. Obviously,
Yep.
the SDLC is a circle. So then you go back to the plan stage after that. But
Yeah.
the maintain stage is driven a lot by incident response and that kind of thing. It's that, okay, we've thought of the idea, we've built it, we've deployed it, now we need to maintain it. So here we have these, here's where we get the AI SREs. So we've
And what does SRE stand for?
SRE is site reliability. I can't spell, so ignore any spelling mistakes. So this is a site reliability engineer.
Okay.
So this is like a DevOps engineer, like a platform engineer, or often is a DevOps engineer or platform engineer. But the roles and responsibilities of those people are to make sure that you're able to know that there is an incident going on and respond to that incident.
Okay. Got it. So do you think AI ops tools are delivering real value? Like, you think, yes, this is actually adding some value, or is there a lot of hype around it?
It's tricky to unwind at the moment. And I think hindsight will be different to what we're observing while we're in the thick of it. There is a lot of hype around AI generally, so you really need to be careful with what advice you take and how you operate. That being said, there's also a lot of negative reporting around AI and issues that it may have caused. That is, again, kind of just riding that hype and maybe leaves out some important notes around guardrails that can be in place to prevent these things happening. So I think I advise a very cautious approach towards implementing AI. I think it should be done. I think, organizations are going to start getting left behind if you don't start using AI and just picking and how do you know where to implement? Well, you pick where you think you can get the most value.
Right.
So just start with that planning phase using ChatGPT to help you summarize meetings and draft user stories and that kind of thing. Just identify where things are slow and where AI is the tool that you can use to make life a bit easier.
Yeah.
Because I think
I guess you need to do a lot of research rather than just grabbing something and saying, yeah, let's just use that.
Yeah. I think we need to be careful with the idea that AI is a hammer, so everything looks like a nail. Is that the analogy?
I think it is. It's something like that.
Yeah. So need to look at your problem and to decide whether or not AI is something that can enhance things there. What was your specific question? Once again, my brain has forgotten it.
I was asking if AI ops tools are delivering real value or if they are mostly hype.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I had a look at some data on this. Now, what we've got to remember is that AI is moving pretty fast and surveys and stuff take time. Therefore, a lot of this information, there's lag to it, right? We won't know until the end of 2026 how 2025 was, for example.
Yeah.
We can see that 84% of engineers this is 2025, so this was the middle of last year.
Mhm.
About 84% of engineers are either using AI at some point in the workflow or plan to use it within the next year.
Okay, that's a high number.
That is a very high number.
Yeah.
And this was kind of backed up by a GitLab survey, which said 78% using or plan to use AI. So it's somewhere around that 80% mark, which
Okay.
makes sense from everything that I hear within organizations. Everyone has an initiative towards AI. It makes sense that it would be that larger a number of people planning to adopt it or already
Yeah.
adopting it. Dora, DORA, they're
Not the Explorer.
not the Explorer. This is framework for measuring DevOps success. So Dora is kind of the framework. I suppose you could call it a framework that people use to improve upon their DevOps practices. But they ran a survey, and 75% of engineers rely on AI for at least one thing. I can't remember if that was engineers because my notes are a bit scribbled. I can't remember if that's engineers or just people in organizations. I think it's in the engineering side of an organization though.
Okay, what percentage was that?
75. So this is
Okay.
just people that already rely on one thing. So this isn't just they are using it, but they rely on that as part of their job. AI is here and it's here to stay, and
Yes.
a lot of roles are already being defined by that. So the value side of things, we have to take this with a pinch of salt because this was a survey done by Microsoft around using Copilot. So just to explain, Copilot is kind of what it sounds like. It is a developer's assistant when writing code. It is an AI agent that can generate code for you. It can autocomplete code for you, all those things that we discussed in the kind of implementation stage. So Microsoft did an experiment effectively where they had a control group team of engineers, and then they had another team of engineers using Copilot to measure how much faster they were.
Okay.
Now, I should say Copilot is a Microsoft tool. It's owned by Microsoft.
Yep.
They claim that the Copilot team were 55% faster than the control group in this experiment.
That's a significant improvement in speed.
It is, but it also seems like quite a measured increase.
Yeah.
With obviously, I don't have the data to hand here on how good that code was, and
Yes.
it's all very well going fast, but did you break things? I would say that 55% faster is a reasonable speed gain that you can expect to get whilst remaining within inside guardrails that do ensure that quality. So I think, if someone was to ask, what benefit do I get from using AI in the implementation stage of the software development lifecycle? I think saying, well, you can expect things to be around 50% faster if you're using the correct guardrails and making sure that things are done correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. Microsoft have come a long way from that annoying little paper clip who used to tap on your screen, haven't they?
Clippy, was that his name?
That was him, yeah. Clippy, he was meant to help, wasn't he?
You know what? I think we should start a petition for Clippy to just be the interface for Copilot, because nostalgia, right? Just nostalgia. But yes, yeah, they have come a long way since Clippy.
That was a long time ago, wasn't it? The days of Clippy.
Yeah, for sure.
I did. He was dead cute. Away from Clippy and his cuteness. So how is AI changing the day-to-day work of a DevOps engineer? Has it changed it significantly, or does it depend
on the organization?
On the organization.
That was exactly what I was going to say. It does depend significantly on the organization. It's generally the organization that will be driving the AI initiatives. It's not necessarily going to be the engineer himself, herself, who's going to go and just start using AI, especially within the kind of organizations that I'm familiar with. So large financial, heavily regulated organizations where they really do need to be careful and have a very measured approach with how they start implementing AI. Mm-hmm. So it may just be that, tools are just outright blocked and you can't use it. Okay. But it is changing the life for engineers that are able to use it. So a lot of those large organizations are embracing AI and do have a strategy to enable their users to use it via certain different platforms. And it's it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. It takes away the busy work, the boring work. Just anecdotally in my experience, it depends what you enjoy and don't enjoy as a DevOps engineer, I suppose. But writing a quick quick and dirty script to go and figure something out in your organization that you may, I don't know, for example, I need a script that goes and checks the disk space that's free on all the databases. Bad example,
Yeah.
but you get what I mean.
Mhm.
I don't have to sit there and write that script. I could just ask AI to write that for me, which is great because it enables me to then look at things that we can derive value from and improve developer experiences.
Yeah. So, what skills do you think DevOps engineers should start learning now because of AI?
I would say continue learning what we generally expect DevOps engineers to know. So that is things like CI/CD, infrastructure as code, cloud providers and all their APIs. So like AWS, Google, Azure.
Yeah.
You're going to need that foundational experience and knowledge. Learn all the skills that a DevOps engineer currently is expected to have, because what we'll be doing with those skills is shepherding AI to do those things for us. But we need to understand whether or not AI is doing it right, especially in this early adoption period. We need to be able to set clear guardrails for AI. We need to know what we know already, but we need to start doing things differently. We need to start incorporating AI where there is that value and speed to be gained. We need to understand how we can measure that value and move into more of an overseer role, where we've got these different AIs, we've got these different models, and we've got these different systems. We're going to need to manage them. We're going to need to understand how AI works to some degree, so we know how to provide it the correct prompts, make sure it has the right context.
Yeah.
I say dive headfirst into using AI. Get started just using ChatGPT, Claude, or whatever it may be in the browser, asking it questions. Just use it day to day to understand the kinds of responses you get, to understand the pros and the cons of using AI, where it can go wrong and where it can cause confusion and outright lie. So just get stuck in, because you're not gonna figure it out just saying, oh, AI sucks, or just generally avoiding it. You're gonna have to dive headfirst into using AI. It's a given. Some of the AI companies now may not be around next year, but there will certainly be a lot of AI forever. It is the new normal.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
don't avoid it. Get stuck in. Don't get left behind.
So do you think, like at the minute, there's a lot of overseeing of these AI tools, but do you think in years to come, once everything has bedded in and settled down, people know what they're dealing with, do you think this is going to reduce the need for DevOps roles as AI takes over? Or do you think we're always going to need that oversight and that hand-holding of it?
It's hard to give a definitive answer to that, just because we don't know where things are going, right?
Oh, you're not got your crystal ball?
No, I haven't got it with me. If you ask 50% of people, they'll say DevOps is dead. Software engineers won't have a job because AI can write code. You ask the other group of people, they'll say AI will enhance your experience and will always continue to write code and do DevOps things, but will be enhanced by it. So they're the two answers you'll hear: that software engineering is dead, or no, will be enhanced by AI, or a smaller group of people saying AI is a fad and it will go away and whatever. I think I can disregard that last opinion. I think it's always going to be around. And with most things, I assume that the answer is probably somewhere in the middle of all of this mess of predictions. I think DevOps will change and probably be called something else. I think engineering roles will evolve into something different, probably around using AI to do the things that you currently do already. I think there may be less software engineering jobs. There may be less platform engineering jobs. but I think there will always be the essence of that role
Yeah.
around. And with those people not doing some of the more menial tasks, let's say, if AI takes those up first, then that just frees those people up to learn and do other things to improve DevOps generally, to improve that software development lifecycle, improve how AI is working. You're going to get to a stage where you're tweaking prompts for your AI and training new models for your own organization and all this kind of stuff. So there is something new to learn. That thing is AI. Learn everything that it does well and learn everything it does poorly. It does things very, very well, but it also hallucinates, which basically means it makes stuff up.
Right.
It
Okay.
will lie to you in order to try to please you. So
It's like my children. Did they write it?
Some might argue some of it's written by children, but
Okay. So we spoke before about people saying that they rely on AI for some part of their job. So how do you think people stop? Well, no, not stop. Don't start to become too dependent on AI. Or is there any harm on being? I don't even know what too dependent means.
I understand where you're coming from with that question.
Yeah.
So if we go back 10, 15 years, we have a somewhat comparable situation where having in-house servers for organizations was threatened by the cloud. And the cloud was very much the buzzword like AI is today.
Yes.
I think there was, people would ask that question, how do we avoid being too dependent on the cloud? And, that question crops up all the time when there's big AWS outages or whatever. But
Okay.
the long and short of it is everyone is way too reliant on the cloud, but it's an accepted risk. We understand the risks of being reliant on a single cloud provider or multiple cloud providers with interlinked dependencies. Infrastructure in general is just so complex now that identifying every single point of failure is very, very difficult. So I think there is an agreement to just generally become reliant on these sort of things and just accept the risk depending on the value that it provides. Yeah, I would say just, keep up your normal DevOps skills and your engineering skills, just as I said before. I wouldn't bother hedging on AI failing. I think it's always going to be there. And I think many situations where we will just be overly reliant on AI.
Yeah, it's hard to find what overly reliant is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the biggest risks of using AI in production systems?
This comes down to, is AI better than a software engineer?
I guess it does, yeah.
AI is faster than a software engineer. It can write applications faster than a software engineer, but it doesn't, on the whole, do a better job. And how do we measure that? So talking about kind of AI generated code specifically, this implement code gen side of things, what we've seen, and Dora did a kind of a study and gave us some numbers. Given the adoption of AI, we're seeing, negative 7.2% delivery stability. So what that means is that production is getting less reliable the more we increase the use of AI.
Okay.
At the moment, and that's with our current understanding of what guardrails need to be in place. In fact, like I said, this data may lag behind 12 months or so. So
Okay.
Dora have said, generally speaking, in organizations that they've measured, we're looking at a loss of stability across production environments. If we look at IDE-Disaster, which is a play on the term IDE and disaster, just for those of you listening, and I always struggle to say it. On average AI generated code introduced 30 plus security vulnerabilities into code that it was just allowed to write itself. So a security vulnerability is something that can be used by a malicious party potentially to hack a system, or it could be just generally cause performance and reliability issues. So
Yeah.
bad things. So yeah, 30 plus vulnerabilities on average, I think, or there were 30 plus different types of vulnerabilities across this test that were introduced. But 100% of AI generated code in this test had at least one vulnerability. So
Okay.
what we're seeing here is that AI is faster at generating code, but it's not doing a fantastic job. And this could be because, the models themselves, they're trained over a period of time and then they're used over a period of time. But the data
Yeah.
they were trained on is still from the past. And vulnerabilities is very much about staying up to date and being on the edge of these new releases and vulnerabilities that are introduced. So it's kind of understandable in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. That's interesting, isn't it? Which you've answered my next question actually. So that's good, isn't it, when you do a 2-in-1? So what do you think the DevOps role is going to look like in 5 years if AI keeps advancing kind of at the rate that it is?
I would say it's a good question, but it's a terrible question. And I won't answer your question. I'll change your question. 5 years? 5 years? No, I can honestly tell you that I haven't the slightest idea what any of this looks like in 5 years.
Okay.
This stuff is changing so fast. It's hard for anyone to keep track of what's going on. And this is one major problem, is that AI models are evolving and the power and the speed and everything is evolving so quickly that no one can keep up. No one has any idea, generally speaking, what's going on and whether we're implementing AI in the right places, what that's going to do for people whose jobs might be at risk or whose jobs might be replaced by AI. Is that a thing that's going to happen? I
Yeah.
have absolutely no idea. If I was to guess in 12 months' time, which I have done in the past, is try and guess where we might be in 12 months' time. I really hope that this year, 2026, is going to be used to focus on the guardrails that we need in place in order to let AI do its thing safely. What that means is we become those shepherds of AI. We become those overseers where we are kind of just steering AI down the right path. We don't want to stop its innovation. We don't want to stop the value that we can get from it, but we absolutely want to, don't necessarily want to rein it in, but we've got to make sure that it operates in a way that doesn't, reduce stability by 7.2% across the board or introduce 30 plus vulnerabilities. So we're going to be writing policies as code. So we might be saying, do not allow this thing to happen. We're going to be writing prompts and giving AI the correct safe context in order to operate in the guardrails that we want it to. In 5 years' time, maybe they'll be the overlords. I don't know. Maybe we'll be just bowing down to Skynet. The rate at which these models are improving, I don't know what happens. And I mean, there's also the whole political idea of, how much energy does AI need to take and where are we getting this energy from? And then there's, if you're a gamer like myself who likes to, play computer games, well, now, RAM is like 300% more expensive than it used to be because AI is buying it all up. Nvidia, who make graphics cards, are focusing more on AI than they are on gamers and their traditional market. So this affects everything, and I have no idea what 5 years from now looks like. I hope it's the same. I quite enjoy life as it is, but I hope it's very similar to how we are now. But I think
Okay,
that's
so that was going to be my final question. Was how do you personally feel about AI the way that it is like right now? Because we don't know what it's going to be in the future. Do you wish for the good old days, how everything used to be, or are you quite enjoying it?
no. I don't believe in the good old days. I think, generally speaking, in DevOps and in life, things are improving. I'm very optimistic with the enhancements that AI brings.
Mhm.
I am optimistic that there will be a form of role for people like myself as DevOps engineers and software engineers. I'm just unclear on what that looks like.
Right.
I don't think we're going to be all out of jobs. I think we just need to figure out what our existing jobs look like with AI. And I think it's a lot of building guardrails and just really massaging AI into what we want it to be,
Yeah.
which is delivering value.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, brilliant. You survived another questioning.
I did. I
You did.
did, despite all of our technical issues. I mean, I haven't covered half of what my notes that I had here around AI in the software development lifecycle. It might be worth me kind of thinking on what we've discussed today and what we haven't, and maybe doing a follow-up episode just to clarify some points. It's a very touchy subject, and I hope that everyone has found this useful and found I'm just doing this based off of the information I have from working in organizations and being a DevOps engineer and seeing how things have progressed in the past. But at the same time, I'm just a person. I'm just looking at anecdotes and some data from some people, but all of this with a pinch of salt, because I am not certain of anything. Yeah. Any final thoughts from yourself?
No, no, not really. I feel a bit more enlightened about AI, but I also feel like there's a long way to go with this, and I don't know where it's going to go. I don't find it particularly worrying or anything like that. I'm just more interested to see how things are going to go and how it's going to develop and how it is going to change things for the better.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe we get into the weeds a bit more from a technical standpoint on what AI is and how it actually works to some degree,
Yeah.
especially within DevOps. There's MCP servers and all sorts of techie things that we can break down in a kind of overview that anyone can understand. So there's all of that to be done. But thank you so much, Helen, for these questions. I know you spent a lot of time putting them together. And I really appreciate that. They're all very good questions, and I'm sure that they resonate with a whole lot of people that are watching and listening around what on earth is AI and what does it mean for DevOps. And I thank you all for watching. If you have any other questions, let us know in the comments. Again, we'll try and answer those in future episodes. If you have any feedback or anything like that, and if you did enjoy, please do give us a like, a subscribe, and a follow. And until next time, stay merge ready.